Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Brian, Mr. Smith Kitchen. And today I thought we would, since it's Thursday and I'm in a baking frenzy, we've been doing so much baking over the last couple of days, which I hope you got to try yesterday's dinner. If you haven't, try it. It's absolutely amazing, which you probably haven't because I didn't get the video actually out and all on social media until early this morning. But if you have, or if you do tonight, awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's Cajun smothered steak. Fantastic. But today we're going to do some baking. Like I said, it's been a baking frenzy over the last couple days. Yesterday it was red velvet cake and 4 pumpkin rolls. Today I'm doing, we are going to do a vanilla cake. Actually, we're going to do 2 vanilla cakes. And then I gotta ice everything up today and make a cherry pie. So it's gonna be a busy day again today. But you're gonna come along for the ride and help me with the first vanilla cake. I am using a recipe that I've never done before. I picked this recipe up from I can't think of the name of the site. I'll put it down here somewhere, either on the screen or in the description. But it, in many ways, it's just a standard vanilla cake, but this recipe uses a hot milk method. It kind of combines a Japanese method for making cakes along with the Western style method of baking cakes, brings them together, and what it accomplishes is an uber moist cake that stays moist, consistently moist, for about 4 days, which is very rare with some cakes. So I thought, why not give this a shot? Let's see how it works. So we're going to do that. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you found me. I hope you get something out of my channel. Check out some of my other videos. We do all things food around here, whether it's gardening, processing, and canning, cooking dinner on Wednesdays, baking on Thursdays. I mean, we're a food-related channel. And, you know, and we promote being good neighbors, you know, taking care of each other. We need that more than ever. If you're returning to my channel, thank you. You're a glutton for punishment, but thank you. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below me, around there somewhere. Right next to it's a notification bell. Let you know when all my videos come out. They're usually on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Lately, I've been throwing a Saturday video in there too for canning and processing, since the garden has produced so much stuff. You know, and it's important to know how to preserve it if you can't eat it all at once, which we can't. We got 120 pounds of tomatoes so far, and we can't possibly eat 120 pounds of tomatoes while they're all ripe. But, that being said, thumbs up, thumbs down. Love them. They do a couple of things for us along with hitting the subscribe button. They help our channel grow by putting us in the algorithm for YouTube. But it also lets me know how I'm doing. It lets me know if you liked the video, didn't like the video, or you're just being a jerk and trolling me. But either way, comments, those are important. It allows me to communicate with you, and I respond to every comment, whether it be just a heart if it's not something that you didn't really need to comment back for, or want to comment back for, or a comment. Only thing I ask, keep it polite. You can disagree. That's fine. I have no qualms with disagreeing. You know, you can say, Brian, I don't like this, whatever. Just be nice and be polite. If you don't think before you type, you're probably going to get kicked out of our community. If not by me, one of the admins or whatever. We'll get you out of there. We also have a Facebook group. Check it out, Mr. Smith's Kitchen. It's public. Anybody can join it. And it's good times. We share recipes, thoughts, things like that. So, anyhow, the cake. We are doing a vanilla cake with a white icing, white vanilla icing. And, so let's get you down to the counter. As you heard, the oven just went off. That's the very first thing we want to do is preheat our oven now before we start anything else. That's important. You want your oven good and warm. So, let's get down here to the counter. We'll go over ingredients as we make it and talk about some of the tools we'll need. All right? Hold on one second. Okay, we are down here at the counter. So, to make our vanilla cake, like I said, this recipe combines 2 different methods of baking. which is pretty awesome. But the very first thing we will need is a recipe. Recipe is very important. As always, I write it in my notebook. If we like it, we keep it. If we don't, we pitch it. Other things you will need: you'll need a whisk. You'll need a spatula. You will need at least a mixing bowl. You will need a small sauce pot, something with a heavier bottom preferred. That way you don't scald anything or burn anything. And the last thing you'll need, if you can see it down here, is a stand mixer with a whisk attachment and or a hand mixer. This is one cake you can't really do by hand, only because the mix times, it has actual mix times, whether it be 5 seconds or 7 minutes with certain speeds. So I would recommend either a hand mixer or a stand mixer. All right, I will give you measurements and cups and grams. That way everybody can cook along no matter where you are in the world. Because we do have people from all over the world. And I would like to welcome our new subscribers. We are growing in leaps and bounds. We are well on our way of hitting our goal of 200 subscribers by the end of the year. I think we can surpass that myself. We just need to keep telling our neighbors and friends, is what it comes down to. So anyhow, the important thing, this cake, let's get it going. First thing we're going to need in a medium-sized bowl is 2 cups, 240 grams of flour. You can use all-purpose flour or cake flour. I'm using all-purpose flour. And to this, we are going to add 2.5 teaspoons or 10 grams of baking powder, just like such. And we are going to add 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. I am using kosher salt. You can use table salt if that's what you got. I use kosher salt because you run less of a risk of having a heavy salt flavor, and it still brings out all the flavors you want of the cake. I will caution you, if you buy kosher salt and it's the large flake salt, crush it up. Make it a fine flake salt, or you inevitably have usually somebody that's important and you're trying to impress, get the piece that has a grain of salt they'll taste. So we're going to whisk this up. All right, make sure it gets all mixed up good and even, or at least it's whisked up. And we're just going to set this aside. Just throw it right there. We'll put it over here in the corner. If you are new to my channel, you are looking at my entire kitchen. I have a galley kitchen. It measures 9 feet by 14 feet. It's not big at all. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is move my drink out of the way, move my spatula out of the way, and we're going to get the stand mixer out. Get her plugged in. Open her up, put the whisk on. And we're going to take, now that we got our stand mixer out, we're going to take 4 large eggs, room temperature. All right, and that's important. Not only does it make it easier to mix, whisk the eggs up, but it, let me move you up a little higher here. It allows for better aeration, and this particular cake is all about the air. We're making a fluffy, moist cake. And what we're going to do is we're going to beat these eggs for 30 seconds on number 6, whether it's your hand mixer or your stand mixer. And after we're done with the 30 seconds, we will continue to let it run, and we're going to add in 1.5 cups or 300 grams of sugar. Okay, we got our 30-second mark. Now we're going to add in our granulated sugar, and we're going to take 45 seconds to do this. So slowly, a little bit at a time. Okay, 45 seconds, 1.5 cups, 300 grams of sugar in the bowl. Now I'm going to go from 6 to 8, and I'm going to let this run for 7 minutes. All right, we've done our 7 minutes. And our batter is nice and smooth, and it's okay. So here's what you're looking for. I'll bring it over to you real quick. See how it's no longer looks like eggs and sugar? It's nice and light in color. It's fluffy. It's creamy, and it has tripled in volume. That's what we're looking for. So the next thing we need to do is take our dry mix, our baking powder, our flour, and salt, And we're just going to sprinkle this in. We're going to put it in 3 parts. All right, so we're going to just layer in 1/3 of it, which is about a half-ish, 3/4 cup. Put that in there, and we're going to mix this for 5 seconds. No more, no less. 5 seconds on number 6. Or I'm sorry, on 1. On slow, or stir in this case, for 5 seconds. Alright, got that in there, and then we're just going to repeat that for the next 1/3, and hopefully not splatter it all over the place like I did on the first one. But you don't want to dump it all into one place. And it's okay if it doesn't all blend in. That's all right. It will in the end. 5. All right, there is that one. Now the last one we're going to do for 5 to 10 seconds. Set that aside. We're going to need the bowl. And she stressed a couple things on this. Do it in order, and in the order of operation, and once you start, don't stop. 8, 9, 10. All right, we are there. All right, so now we're done with this. I'm going to go ahead and take that off, put that down like such. Now, what we need to do is move our mixer out of the way for a second, because the next step involves the stovetop. Alright. Out of there. Put that in there. Alright, so now in our saucepan, go ahead and get this turned on. We are going to add a 1/2 cup of unsalted butter, 113 grams, into the pot, and 1 cup of whole milk, 250 milliliters, 250 grams. And we're going to look for 2 things. We want to get the butter melted, okay? And in the process, we're going to be looking for bubbles around the edge of this saucepan. You don't want to bring it to a boil, and you don't, we're just looking to get it hot. Once the butter is melted and you see bubbles along the edge, you know you're in good shape, all right? You don't want to do this step early. She mentions this like 2 or 3 times in her article, because what can happen is the milk won't be hot enough, or you'll get a skim coat over the top, and that won't go away, when you mix it in your batter. So let's get this the butter melted, and then we'll move on to the next steps. All right, our butter is melted, and excuse me, and I've got bubbles coming up on the edge, so we will go ahead and turn that off. And that bowl we had our dry goods in, our dry stuff in, I'm just going to pour this in there. And to this, you want to work kind of quick. You don't want to lose that heat. I'm going to add 3 teaspoons, 12 grams of vanilla. And I'm going to add 3 teaspoons, 12 grams of vegetable oil. Now I'm just going to mix that in real quick. There we go. And then, we are going to add, now you want to get your whisk attachment out, or your whisk out. Woo! Making all kinds of ruckus. Bring our batter back over here, because we are going to take about a cup of this batter. Set that there, why not? Live with a little bit of mess. We're going to take a cup of the batter, give or take. The amount isn't exactly important. And we're going to temper the batter with the hot milk mixture. Now you want to temper, because remember, we got eggs and you don't want your eggs to cook. So we want to bring the eggs we're putting in here up to temperature of the milk while bringing the temperature of the milk down a little bit. And you're going to mix this until you get a nice froth on it. All right, we got it mixed up. And I'll show you here real quick. See the froth we got going on in there? That's what we're looking for. Put our spatula down. We're gonna turn this on. Put our mixer on 1 and pour the batter in over 15 seconds. All right, got our batter in there over 15 seconds. Now we are going to beat this for another 15 seconds. And then we're going to stop. All right, now we are going to scrape down the sides. And the directions in this recipe are quite specific. She even recommends that you read them 2 or 3 times to ensure you got them. It's that important that you follow the seconds and all that good stuff. So get that in there. But it looks like everything she said is true and working so far. And then we are going to put this back on. And we are going to beat this for another 10 seconds. All right, we are good there. Now all we have left to do is pour the batter into our pans. Now, before I even turned on the oven, I prepped my pans. Just like with any other cake, we took the pans and we buttered them, we floured them, and I've got a piece of parchment paper on the bottom. That way, we're ensuring their pans it won't stick to our pans. And we're going to put about 550 grams in each pan. All right, so let me go ahead and get this. Don't need the whisk anymore. Grab our spatula. And I'm going to start out with 500 grams in each. And we'll balance it out from there. All right, we got them balanced out. Ended up at 543 on each, which is fair. So the next thing we need to do is take our pans and we're going to drop them 3 times on the counter. What we're doing there, I know we work so hard to keep all that air in it, right? We're still keeping the air in it. What we're doing is getting the big air bubbles out. All right, and you don't want to do it any more than that, or you'll run the risk of taking out all the little air bubbles. And what that does is that helps our crumb. Yeah, which is the air pockets inside the cake as it bakes. We don't want big air pockets, right? Because that can lead to big things on top. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these in the oven. She, on her recipe online, which like I said, I will leave the name of her site in the description with the ingredients. She gives a listing of what kind of pan are you using to what minutes to cook in the oven. They're all at bake in the oven. They're all at 350 degrees. She's got 8-inch, 9-inch, which is, there's a variance in time. She's got 9x13 cupcakes. Just pick a pan. She's got a time for it. For 9-inch pans like we're using, it's 27 minutes is what she put on there. Halfway through that, I'm going to turn them 180 degrees so they cook evenly. And I'm going to check them with toothpick, just like always, at 25 minutes. All right, because most cakes, 9-inch cakes, take 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll check it around 25 minutes, and if need be, I'll let it go all the way to 27, like the recipe calls for. So let me get these in the oven, and when I come back, we'll talk about how to get them out and how long to let them cool for. All right, I'll be right back. All right, timer's getting ready to go off. We can pull the cakes out, toothpick test them, and see where we're at. There goes the timer. Get that. Get you down here real quick. We'll pull those cakes out. Now remember, cakes just like cookies. You gotta watch them. They'll dry out quick on you. 30 seconds can be a long time. So we'll go ahead and get the cakes out, just like such. Set them here on the wire rack. Not gonna turn the oven off yet though, because they may not be done. I mean, we don't know. But it's been 27 minutes to the T. And we'll just take our toothpick and run it through the center. Now if we look, see how it come out clean? There's just that itty bitty little crumb right there that you probably can't see. And then we'll check the other one. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but halfway through baking, I rotated these pans. Not only did I switch sides, but I turned them. All right, 180 degrees. That way I ensure even baking. So we are good. Another test you can do is just touch the top of them. They should be spongy, and they are. So we're good there. So we'll go ahead and we're going to turn our oven off. We're going to let those sit there for about 15 minutes and cool before we take them out of the pan. Once they're cooled, we'll take them out of the pan together, and then we're just going to let them sit and cool to room temperature. So I'll be right back so we can take these out of the pan. All right, we let these cool for 15 minutes. They're still warm, but they're not unmanageable. So the next thing we're going to do, just to make sure that we are all set, is if you look, I mean, they're, they've come away from the sides, but we want to make sure they come away from the sides all the way through. We're just going to run our offset spatula, or if you just got a knife or whatever. You want something that you can poke down in there to make sure that, it has come completely off the sides. If not, you'll know the minute you flip it over, because part of it will stay and the other part will come. I've learned that from cake experience. And then if you've got another cooling rack, like a small round one, you can put it over top. I do not, so I'm going to use a plate. I'm just simply going to stick the plate on there, flip it over. I heard it drop, so we're in good shape. But if it didn't drop right away, just tap the bottom, and it'll drop. Boom, just like that. So, now we'll take our parchment paper off there. Just like that, looking good. Although it looks like we didn't quite get all the... Okay, so remember when we dropped the pan to get the big holes out, the crumbs? See, I didn't get quite all the big air pockets out, and it stayed. So now I'm just going to flip it over, back on its top, just like that, and then we'll wash, rinse, repeat. Take the pan, flip it over. I heard it drop, but we'll tap anyhow, just in case, for luck. Pull the parchment paper off. And it's okay if you get it. The crumb is as important as it is. It's still going to taste good. Remember, we're not professionals. At least I'm not a professional. Maybe you are. And then we'll just take it, flip it over, set it down. Now, let's say it domed, okay? Because there's many options with this cake. We're going to put a layer of vanilla buttercream icing over top of this, make it a vanilla on vanilla cake. But because of the way we made this cake and its moistness and its taste, according to the lady who wrote this recipe, you can leave it blank, and you can put a jam filling in it, a cream cheese, whatever on top, powdered sugar on top of that, make it a single layer, whatever. Then, I mean, your holes might be somewhat important, but all in all, you're just looking for a beauty on the top. Those holes on the bottom aren't going to affect anything, and it's still going to taste good. So, that being said, I'm going to leave these sit here in completely cool to room temperature, and when we come back, we'll make some icing and get us a cake together. All right, I'll see you here in just a moment. Okay, so we are down to the final stretch of things, really. We are going to make our icing. Oop, as soon as I quit tearing up my stovetop here. And then after we make our icing, we're going to ice the cake. We do have to let it chill for a little bit, let the icing firm up. That's one of the beauties of buttercream. It can be And for as pliable as it is, it can get soft. You do want to, I mean, we're talking 10 minutes in the fridge, 15 tops. We just wanted to firm up, but we got to make it first. So let's get down here to the counter and we will whip it together and ice the cake. Hold on for me. I'll get down there and we'll get started. All right, hold on. All right, so we are down here at the mixer. In the mixer already, I have 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 cup or 226 grams of butter. And what we're going to do first is we're going to cream this. Now we want, normally like when we bake stuff, we just cream it and we don't let it go very long just till it's nice and creamy. This we're going to run for about 3 minutes until it's nice and white and I don't want to say fluffy, but kind of fluffy. So I'm going to go ahead and get this running and we'll get it nice and creamed up and fluffy and white and then move on to getting some powdered sugar in here. Alright, we got her down nice and creamed and light in color. Oh, you can see it there on the paddle attachment, which we'll want to use the paddle attachment for this. On a couple notes. When making buttercream, see how it's nice, it looks like mayonnaise. When making buttercream icing, couple things to keep in mind. You want it thick enough to spread, but you don't want it runny. And I just learned this. The more fat content it has in the butter, the better off you are. And I've also noticed since I've learned that, it's been a while since we've made buttercream together, that you get what you pay for. That's usually what determines the price of the butter, it seems. The higher the fat content, the more expensive it is. And I've also noticed they usually run between 76% and 82% butter fat. And when making icing, you want to try to stay up at 80% butter or 80% fat or higher. So we got that nice and creamed up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 4.5 cups, 465 grams of powdered sugar. Sifted powdered sugar. I ran it through my colander, all right? Or if you have one, you can run it through a sifter. I just too lazy to use it anymore. I didn't reach up there and grab it. I already had that one there. But we're just going to put this in at a cup at a time, okay? You don't want to put it all in at once, especially that much powdered sugar. You'll end up with a mess. And it takes forever to get it mixed. But start it on low, 1, just like we've been practicing through this whole thing. You put that bad boy on high, you will have a kitchen covered in powdered sugar. And we're just going to keep doing this 1 cup at a time until we get it incorporated. Alright, we got all our powdered sugar in there. Now one thing I did forget to mention is in between each cup, you want to take your spatula and kind of scrape the sides down and all that, keep up on the powdered sugar thing, or you'll just have it all caked around the top. So now that we got this done, this part done, we need to scrape our sides down, because right now all we have is just plain old buttercream icing. It doesn't have no flavor, right? And that's okay. I mean, this would be just a perfectly good buttercream icing if you just wanted a plain old white icing. This would work. Yeah, it would do the job. You could say, I'm finished, and put it on your cake and move on about your day. But why do that? That just sounds silly. So what I'm going to add to this is 3 teaspoons, 12 grams of vanilla extract. So we got 465 grams of powdered sugar. We got 226 grams of butter. And we got 12 grams of vanilla. And we're going to mix that in there real good. Yeah. Get it so it disappears. And it'll turn your icing an offset color. Get it mixed in real well. Now, here's where we have to make decisions. I mean, I've already made my decision because I've made this icing a few times. Is it thick enough? Is it too thick? Is it not thick enough? So, if it's too thick, which not that I think this is too thick by any means, but I want it just a hair looser. All right, now you don't have to. You don't have to do another thing to it. It's ready to serve, so to speak. Unless you're adding chocolate to it or something like that. But I want to add a little bit more looseness to this so it'll flow a little better. And I'm going to add some milk to it. So you can, just set out a couple, 2 to 4 teaspoons of some milk, whole milk, by skim milk, whatever you like. But I mean, you're about to eat 465 grams of powdered sugar. I don't think skim milk's going to make a difference. And I'm just going to pour a tablespoon in there. As soon as I find it. There it is. Yep. A little bit more. Boom. And I'm going to mix this in. And if it's where I want it to be, I will not mix any more, which I think is pretty much going to be where I want it to be. I may add 1 more tablespoon just for, giggles. Let's see where it is. Do we like it? Actually, that might work. Because I want something that's, is smooth and not horribly thick. In my mind, my favorite icing of all time is a Swiss meringue. I think that is hands down the best icing. And I like cream cheese icing. It's good, but buttercream to me, if it's not fluffy, soft, creamy, not thick is okay in some ways, but I'm not a big fan of thick, dense icing. I think it takes away from something, from the cake somehow. So, but I think that's good. I only put 1 tablespoon in there. I'm actually going to add about another ½ tablespoon. We're good there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to beat this on high for about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, so I can get some air in there. Even though the paddle attachment's to smooth, you let it run long enough, it'll throw some air in there. But I want to fluff this up a little bit. All right, we have gotten it nice and smooth. Got a little bit of air in there. Looking good. It's almost like a whip topping versus a big stick of butter, so to speak, which is what I wanted. Because when you put it back in the fridge, you can always it'll firm up. And then you pull it out, let it warm up the room temperature a little bit, and it'll go back to being soft again. So, but I said what to do if it's too firm. What if it's too loose? What if you accidentally put too much milk in it? You can always add powdered sugar to it, and firm it back up. It's kind of finding that happy balance to what you like, and what are you going to do with the, icing? If I were going to, say, make flowers out of this, I wouldn't have put any milk in it, and I would have probably added some more powdered sugar to it, to the butter ratio to get it nice and thick. But I mean, there we are, and it's still, it doesn't fall off the spoon, so to speak, and that's what we want. No dripping, but yet I can feel it. As weird as this sounds, I can feel it in the spatula as I sit here and make sure we got it all mixed up nice and well. I can feel it stiff enough to ice, but not so stiff that I can't move it easy. Alright, well, let me get this little bit of mess cleaned up. I'll bring the cakes in and we will start icing. Alright, so got our mess cleaned up, and we'll ice the first of, 3 cakes we got to do today. I will say thank you to everybody that has ordered cakes and pies and cookies off of me over the last few months. It really feels cool to be able to grow a small business, and in this case, you guys have really helped with purchasing this house, and making, helping me to make my dreams come true. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of icing here in the center. By a little bit, I mean a fair amount. I want to, this go around, I want a good thick layer of icing in between there. Now I'm going to take my offset spatula here, and I'm just going to smear this out to the edge. Now, since we're icing the whole cake, I can take it all the way out to the edge and, rock it out. I mean, you could do that either way it went. And we'll just get this to the edge. But, let's say we were doing a filling on the inside of this, or this was all we were going to do was just put some icing in the center. And you could say, Brian, why would you do that? We could put icing in the center, put a jam on top of it, jam of your choice: strawberry, cherry, peach. I mean, whatever, you know, suits your fancy. Applesauce. And then put the second layer on top of it, and we could call that, and then throw some powdered sugar on top of that, and oh my goodness, you would have an amazing treat. Or you could do some whipped topping in the center here. Put some whole fresh strawberries, you know, dipped in sugar in the center of this with that whipped topping. Put the top on the top, throw a little more whipped cream on the top of that, you know, and leave the sides naked and have like a shortbread. That would be incredible. That actually sounds really good. And I think you would be absolutely delighted. I think your family and friends would be delighted. A vanilla cake you can use to do just about anything with. They're so versatile. I mean, in some ways it's like that with any cake, but a vanilla cake especially is a little more, because chocolate you can only do so much. With like this right here, I could actually now take candies, chocolate bars, whatever, stick it in there, put the top on it, and repeat, or put, you know, another topping on top. All right, so we got that on there. Now I'm gonna take this, and we will, well, we'll flip it this side up since I just got it all over my hands. That's okay. So you want to know how moist this cake is? Look, I just got it all over my hands like that. I am currently out of gloves, which is breaking my heart. I ran out last night. And we will get that top on there like that. We will take a giant load of icing, put it on there. Now we have a couple options when it comes to icing a cake. We could do like I'm going to do right here and just use an offset spatula or a knife, or this spatula here. If you don't have an offset spatula, you could also use a piping bag. Yeah, if I was using a piping bag with this, I would simply have swirled this around with the piping bag, evened it out, taken my piping bag and gone zigzag along the sides, and then spread it out. I've done that in a couple of my previous videos, and it's not hard. I just don't do it, at least not today, because I didn't feel like washing the piping bags afterwards and the tips. And that's the only reason why. I know that sounds horrible, but it's the truth. All right, so we get the top done. And while you're doing the top, it's okay to go over the edge, just like that. So we got it top on, stuff over the edge. Now all we're gonna do is bring it over the edge and put it on the sides. Yeah, now, let's say you don't have enough icing to do the sides with. What do? Well, I mean, you could do what I'm going to do. I just come up here, get a little icing right there, and bring it down over the side. You know, or you could just spread it onto the side, take your offset spatula, scoop some up, and come in here and work it around. But all you got to do is see how it's still stiff enough that it's holding to the side. Now, what happens if, say, your icing isn't quite stiff enough to do that? Well, then we just stick it all in the fridge. You know, let it sit in there for about 15 minutes. You know, just like we're going to do when we get done icing this cake. You let it sit in there for, you know, 10, 15 minutes. It will firm up. You know, it's just gotten warm. You know, which is why if you let your cake cool completely, let your kitchen cool completely, you'll be in good shape. You know, you'll be able to, you know, your icing won't warm up too quickly, and, you know, it'll be workable and you can ice your cake. All right, well, I'm going to finish getting this iced real quick, and then when I come back, we will try a piece. Yeah, do some muting there. Watching some horror slasher movie. Let it sit in the fridge for a few minutes after I got it iced, and I put some decorative Halloween sprinkles on it, reddish orange, black, and a multitude of other little sprinkle colors, just to give it something, you know, some pop, and to show you you can truly do anything with these. But let's go ahead, and as soon as I find a knife, because I'm special, got the knife because I'm special, and we'll cut us a piece. I'm going to do a very big piece. I'm not really horribly hungry. at the moment, and I don't want to upset my belly before lunch. Well, but I want to try it because it looks good, and we worked very hard on this. We learned a lot of techniques today. Get all the way down through there. There we go. Get my handy dandy cake remover tool out of here. I'm not very well prepared this morning, am I? Oh, there we go. All right, fork. And I actually think this is a pie server, but it'll work for cake too, right? It's all triangles. There we are. I mean, I'm a little offset, I guess, on my cake piece, but there's what we look like. And I mean, she was right. I mean, if you look at the crumb, it's not dense, but it's not big, and that's good. That's what we were, you know, that's kind of what we were going for in that. And then if we probably get a better look right there, you know, that looks pretty solid. I like it, you know. So now we know it looks good. It cuts well. It smelled fantastic. I'm telling you that because I don't know if you have smell-o-vision in your area yet. We just got it in ours, but it smelled good. So if you have smell-o-vision, great. You know it smelled fantastic in my house, which is awesome. So all that's left to do now that we know it looks good and it smelled good, let's see how it tastes. I think it's going to taste good because I tried some of the batter. That is one super moist flavored, super moist vanilla cake. I mean, moist. Oh, yeah. It's got a nice vanilla taste to it. It's not horribly powerful. It's spongy, light. You know, the crumb is amazing. It looks really good. The vanilla buttercream isn't over the top on it or heavy. Wow. That is a good buttercream cake recipe. Or buttercream cake. Vanilla cake with buttercream icing recipe. Hands down. You guys need to try this one. It's not hard. Now that we've worked through the steps together, that's not that bad. It's just all about timing your mixing. That's it. I like that. Give this a try, please. Please do. It didn't take us long to make, even though I'm pretty sure. Well, you got to see 90% of everything other than the baking and the cooling. And it didn't take that long. You know, maybe 20 minutes to put it together. You know, 15, 20 minutes to put it together, and 27 minutes in the oven, and then an hour to cool. Yeah. Not hard. Not hard at all. All right, so Saturday, I'm putting out a canning video, and it's going to be how to process and can pot roast done in chunks. You're asking, why would you want to can pot roast? Why wouldn't you want to can pot roast? It makes it quick and easy to do beef and noodles, chili, anything that involves chunks of beef. You don't have to let it sit in a slow cooker all day. You just throw it in the pot. It's already cooked. It's already falling apart and moist and tender. But anyhow, that being said, that's this Saturday's video. I had an abundance of pot roast in my freezer, and I wanted to get it out of my freezer to make room, and so we canned it up. So that'll be this Saturday. I look forward to showing you guys how to do it, because the process for meat is pretty much the same for pot roast as it is for hamburger, as it is for chicken. And that's awesome. You know, it helps find it on sale. Like, we find our stuff on sale sometimes. We buy it up as much as we can afford to, and, you know, we'll can it. And then that way we have it. But we're talking cake today. So try this cake. Let me know if you do. Leave me a message down in the comments. Find us on Facebook with Mr. Smith's Kitchen, our group. The group page, you can leave me a comment there, or you can say, hey, that was the greatest cake I ever tried, or you can say, dude, I tried that cake, it was horrible, it was a failure, I don't know what I did wrong. I mean, there's just a bunch of things to do. So, until Saturday when we can and process some meats, I love you. I love you very much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, with true sincerity. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. You make this cake and take them a piece, they'll know how much they love you. Or you love them. It is so good, and they're going to think that you're a professional cake maker. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. So, let me know how it works out. All right, if you do try it. I love you. I'll see you Saturday. Talk to you later. Bye.